Hello and welcome back to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and the date today is Monday, August 12th, 2024. I've been doing a countdown of my favorite video games of all time through each day of the year, and coming in at number 142 is Dynasty Warriors 4. Okay, before I get into the actual game here, I want to mention that if you like these videos, I announced a Patreon at the start of the month, and that goes live on September 1st. You can check out the info from the announcement video in the description below so you can make your own rankings and maybe even tell me how wrong I am in a ton of future videos. On to the game. The Dynasty Warriors franchise has you playing as historical figures from the Three Kingdoms period of ancient China. For being almost 2,000 years ago, we have a lot of information about this relatively short span of 60 years. In the time since then, historians have preserved remarkably detailed accounts of not only important figures from each of the kingdoms and other influences, but also of military events and strategies. Playing these games in the early to mid 2000s inspired me to learn more about the Three Kingdoms period, and it's actually an extremely fascinating part of history. But it did have the side effect of learning how inaccurate some parts of the games are. While Dynasty Warriors is rooted in a lot of real history, there's definitely some creative liberties, and I don't just mean in the outrageous combat and weapon designs. But that's alright, it's all in good fun. That's what I would say if they could even be bothered to pronounce people's names right. It's Cao Cao, not Cow Cow. I should mention that when I picked up a copy of the game recently, I had forgotten that Dynasty Warriors 4 Extreme Legends is, in fact, a separate disc expansion to the game, so I didn't have access to the bulk of the game for recording, but I could still at least record some combat to show off the systems. Pick a fighter from amongst 42 playable characters, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Characters are split amongst 4 factions: the Three Kingdoms of Shu, Wu, and Wei, and then a hodgepodge other faction consisting of characters not affiliated with a specific kingdom, such as the legendary warrior Lu Bu. Normally, the game is played in a story mode that follows the key events involving the chosen character in a campaign. There's a ton of different levels, and depending on the character you're playing as, you may have wildly different objectives for each one, especially as you may be on different sides of the fight. Some characters have short campaigns only lasting a few chapters, and others have long, sweeping stories due to their heavy involvement in many aspects of the time period, like Zhuge Liang. He was a famed tactician and inventor for the Kingdom of Shu, credited with important inventions such as the repeating crossbow, Chinese lanterns, a precursor to the wheelbarrow, and maybe even steamed buns? But that might just be folklore. The point is, the dude was very cool, and in this game, he shoots laser beams out of a fan. Combat consists of light and heavy attacks that can be comboed together with special jump attacks as well. You're generally one person fighting off hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of enemy soldiers across sweeping battlefields. In addition to your regular attacks, each character has what's called a Muso meter that when full allows you to unleash a special attack. That's where Zhuge Liang's laser beams come in. Here you're seeing me play as Zhao Yun, a historical general for the Shu army and close confidant to Emperor Liu Bei. You'll notice that when my health gets in the red, the Muso meter fills automatically, and it also does extra damage, setting my opponents on fire. In addition to your regular enemies, there's also opposing generals and lieutenants that serve as mini-bosses and have little cutscenes when you beat them. Missions are often related to defeating specific enemies, but they can have other goals too, like protecting specific people or locations. Characters level up throughout repeated play, and if you break open crates and other items throughout the map, you'll sometimes find items that give permanent stat bonuses for that character, or new weapons with better base stats. While everything's fun, the real draw is the 2-player co-op, but I'm gonna save that for another video. so a little spoiler there. Join me tomorrow as I talk about my 141st favorite game where I Poyo faster than I have ever Poyoed before.